This week we're talking about the Alamo. You may all go to hell, and I will go to Texas. Davy Crockett. Yes, the amazing Alamo, which is right smack dab in the center of San Antonio. Now, for those of you who aren't really familiar with the whole Alamo dealy bob, let me kind of give you the quick and dirty. Colonial era America is over here on the East Coast. Colonial era Spain has taken over Mexico and the West Coast. And as immigration and westernizing and all that good stuff happened during those times, boom, stuck in the middle with you is Texas. So the Mexicans won their independence from Spain on September 27th, 1821. No, not Cinco de Mayo. Okay, so, but they won it on September 27th. So that's Quedamos en Grito. It's Mexican Independence Day. So the Mexicans allowed for immigrants to move into Texas because they needed bodies. And then the Texans kind of started going, we kind of want to be our own country. And the Mexicans were like, no, you belong to us. And then the colonial people from the East Coast were kind of like, yeah, you want to become part of the United States. And Texas was like, no, I think we kind of want to be our own country. And so the Mexicans, the colonists, and the Texans all ended up having this kind of conflict. And it kind of got progressively worse and progressively worse. So a bunch of guys known as the freedom fighters or whatever, the dudes ended up hunkered down in the Alamo. And then Santa Anna came up from Mexico and said to the guys in the Alamo, give me your cannon. And they said, no, come and take it. And so there was the line in the sand, and then there was all these, other people, and then there was this big, huge battle, and everybody in the Alamo died, and then Santa Anna went down to San Jacinto, and he gets captured, and the Americans and everybody fighting for Texas independence beat Santa Anna, and then everything was ratified, and January, February, April 21st, 1836, Texas got its independence from Mexico. And at that particular time, Texas became its own republic. But anyway, so back to the Alamo. Oh, the Alamo, the Alamo, the Alamo, the Alamo, the Alamo, the Alamo. Okay, so basically, when you talk about the Alamo, for the most part, you think about this beautiful structure in the middle of a beautiful grassy plain, and it's gorgeous and well kept, and the long barracks where the majority of the fighting happened has been turned into a museum, and the Alamo itself has been turned into a museum, and then there's like little vignettes and little stories about all this different stuff that happened during the siege. And the siege lasted about 13 days. And San Antonio celebrates that every year because it's, their Texas independence, and that actually is what they call fiesta. But reenactors are doing the battle scene and this, and the come and take it and all that other good stuff. All right, so this is my first encounter with the Alamo. I'm along the Riverwalk, and I'm getting kind of the heebie-jeebies. I'm not real super comfortable. I'm not really sure what's going on. And then I get to the Alamo proper, and in front of the Alamo there's this giant green patch that's surrounded by, kind of fencing. And then there's, a Texas Ranger standing there. It's now a park ranger, but back then it was a Texas Ranger. And that was considered sacred ground. And I didn't know why, because I didn't know the history, and I'm kind of like walking around and I'm like, I don't like this place. It's any heebie-jeebies. Well, as beautiful as they make it, they can't remove the fact that it's a battleground. And so that green patch right in front of the Alamo was where one of the funeral pyres was. Because remember, the Mexicans didn't came and cleaned up the mess, because they rarely talk about the 1,000 Mexicans that got wiped out at the Battle of Alamo as well. So you're dealing with roughly 15 to 2,000 corpses and pissed off ghosts in the area. So yeah, there's a few. So Anyways, I'm going to tell you my very first ghost story. So the Battle of the Alamo is completed. Santa Anna's moved down to San Jacinto, and he sends some of his guys back to blow up the Alamo. He goes, I don't want them to have any relic. I don't want them to have anything to be a rallying cry for them. I want you to go back and blow up the Alamo. So he sends a couple of guys. They've got some pack horses. They've got some dynamite. They're ready to blow up the Alamo. They get to the Alamo, and they are greeted by angry ghosts of fire with torches and screaming, get away from our Alamo! And the Mexicans go, ay Dios mío! And they run away. And they didn't blow up the Alamo because they couldn't, because they were too afraid. So that's the kind of ghost you're dealing with when you're dealing with the Alamo. So that's your story. More later. Bye.